Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
And today we're going to be talking about how to build the luckiest character in Dungeons & Dragons.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with us.
It seems to be that we're revisiting some of our old builds. We have more options than we had before, so we figured, hey, why not? Let's take a look at those options and see what we can do with them.
Absolutely. So we did the luckiest character build before, so let's see how lucky we can get today.
We've have quite a few books. We had Volo's Guide, we had Xanathar's Guide come out. So now we have some options that we didn't have access to before.
All right, so are we going to go through our options as we did with the renewed Archer build?
Yeah, I think we should. Let's take a look at some of the classes and races that are going to do what we want them to do, that lets you to manipulate dice. Because I think that's what we're really talking about in this video, is the dice manipulator.
Absolutely. Now, I only know of one race that really gives you that whole, lucky dice manipulator feeling, and that's Halfling.
Yeah, Halfling is the only one where you get to reroll once. It's literally one of the best abilities in the game.
I would concur.
It's now when I see the two, I call that the Halfling one.
Yes, actually, we've had several fans that do that all pretty often.
So with that, let's move into the classes.
As we've done before, we're gonna go down the list alphabetically, class wise. So I think Barbarian's not really offering us anything, so we're gonna look at Bard.
Yeah, Bard is next. Both College of Lore and College of Valor, actually all of them to some extent, because you can give out Bardic Inspiration, so you get to influence the numbers on the dice that other people are rolling for the most part.
Absolutely, and let's not toss out the Cutting Words, which is a phenomenal ability, and I've seen that literally make the difference on encounters.
Yeah, Cutting Words is going to affect saving throws and attack rolls for your opponent. The Bard of Valor, they have the ability to add damage to or add dice to the damage that they do. So they both do, but I feel like you're going to get more versatility out of Lore.
I would agree.
So and next, actually, I don't even think we talked about this one when we originally did it, but you could actually add Fighter to the list. And, that would be the Battle Master, because you're going to add damage dice. You're going to add to hit, sometimes armor class. So, those superiority dice actually let you manipulate what's going on and the numbers for yourself and other people sometimes.
Absolutely. You get a lot of fun tricks, which could be interpreted as lucky. I didn't just hit him. I hit him and knocked his weapon out of his hand, or I hit him and knocked him back into this unfavorable position. I was able to parry an attack that would have hit me, but because I'm that lucky, I blocked it.
Yeah, like the Battle Master is usually explained as the really tactical and strategic fighter, and is skilled with maneuvers. But yeah, like you could instead explain those and reflavor those as just, happenstance and luck that happens. And I've also seen the Battle Master reflavored as a dirty fighter as well. So there's different takes on the same one. But if we're going for Dice Manipulator, they do have some abilities in there.
We're going to jump from fighter down to rogue. And I think I want to look heavily at the Mastermind. The other ones really aren't putting anything to the table for manipulation, but the Mastermind offers some pretty cool stuff.
Well, yeah, at third level, the Mastermind is able to use his bonus action to do the help action for other people. So, you're for one skill check or one attack, you are going to be able to give them advantage.
So, I mean, technically, if you use that as a bonus action to help him, I could also help him with my regular action if I really wanted to.
Technically, you could do that, yes.
So you could be like, hey, you guys both get advantage. But if you're a rogue, you probably want a sneak attack.
More than likely. That brings us to the Sorcerer. This wasn't really an option before.
Well, I mean, it was, but we didn't really talk about it.
Oh, it's true. The Sorcerer actually offers up two different type of dice manipulators that you could go with. The Wild Mage, which is in the player's handbook, obviously, they can spend sorcery points and give you a D4 to the roll. It's a really expensive ability to use. It has actually been a sore point for Nerdarchy. Spending 2 sorcery points for an extra D4 seems kind of lame.
Yeah, so in our game, we actually wound up scaling that. But
Yeah, we've changed that. But then you also have the divine sorcerer origin, where when you miss a saving throw or attack roll, you can roll 2d4. So which that's a lot better.
Being able to add double what the Chaos Sorcerer is getting is pretty nice. And, that seems to me to be able to speak to Lucky.
Yeah, and you can also divine favor. Same thing, right? Divine providence. So what that does for you is you get that once per rest. You don't have to worry about spending sorcery points on it. It just kind of happens.
Absolutely. So then the last thing we want to get into is Wizard. And I wouldn't think the Wizard is really going to hearken to that to that Lucky character, but if you look at the Diviner, they got some pretty sweet abilities.
Yeah, their portent ability is really good. I mean, being able to bank rolls and give them out when you want to, for better or worse.
So you get 3 dice rolls a day, and you write them down at any point in time. You, another player, or even the GM, they make a roll, and you're like, you know what? No, you're getting this instead.
I have this 3.
So, you change that 20 into a 3, or you change your 1 into a natural 20. Depending upon what you happen to roll at that time, you really have the ability to just change an entire die roll at your whim.
So the next area I think we should look at is probably feats, because I think that pretty much covers all the classes.
I would agree. The rest of them, correct us if we're wrong, but they really don't have anything for that dice manipulation mechanic. So feats, first and foremost, you got to go with Lucky.
It's right in the name.
Was that three re-rolls that you get over the course of a day? Pretty darn sweet.
Yeah. So from there, now this is an area where we used to only have really the one. Now we have several choices, but they're a little restricted because they're all racial.
So if you go with Halfling, you've got Bountiful Luck, which you can use your reaction when somebody else rolls a 1 to use your Halfling luck for them, and they get to re-roll. You still have to wait till the beginning of your next turn to be able to use yours, but still pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, and it's come up in our game quite a few times because Ryan's character has used it.
Absolutely.
Then there is also Second Chance. So Second Chance is another Halfling feat, and it's also really good. It's when you see someone that hits with an attack, you can use your reaction to make them then re-roll that attack, possibly causing them to miss.
Now, that's pretty nice to be able to possibly play a flipperoo on that. Now, there's another feat that is kind of a hit or miss, if I want to get a little bit of punny here, and that's Magic Initiate. There are a number of spells that wind up working some dice manipulations, and we're going to get to that in a moment. But if you take Magic Initiate to get access to those kind of spells, you can get Bless, True Strike, depending upon how you want to manipulate your character or the dice. Magic Initiate is going to get you access.
That would be, give you some options. Now, the other one I would think of, too, is Elven Accuracy, because when you have advantage, you can re-roll one of the rolls. So that's another one that would kind of fall into that category as well. But, so I think that's it for feats. We can see we're leaning really heavy with the Halfling. Half-Elf or Elf can also use the Elven Accuracy. But at the end of the day, so far, like the Halfling has 2 feats specifically for them that has a lot of versatility.
And the racial built in.
They've
got 3, whereas Elf's got 1. Or Elf, half-elf.
So the last thing to kind of look at is, and I don't even know that we did this before, and you don't even have to go very far into the levels to do this, but that is spells. Like early on, there's a handful of spells that are really useful for manipulating dice or adding dice.
So if you look at, as I mentioned, Bless or Bane, you can give, the allies an extra D4 to what they're doing. Or if you Bane your enemies, it's a D4 off of what they're trying to do. So that can kind of stem to your, well, I'm not casting a spell, I'm just praying. Especially if you go with the Magic Initiate route. It's like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. And then you go. So your action is releasing this energy, but you don't really see it as casting a spell.
Then there's also Guidance, which is a cantrip, right? And you can use that all day long, and that gives you an extra die for when you're doing skill checks.
Yeah, I actually had a player who, in one of my games, he's like, yeah, I'm doing this all the time, and it's like that seems to make to me it would be like, all right, that's really distracting, but hey,
He prays a lot. He prays a
if
lot.
that's what you really want to do, by all means, But to me, it means you're more into the prayer and what's going on as opposed to being aware of your actual surroundings.
So let's take a look and actually kind of build a dice manipulator now and see what we come up with. It's actually going to be very similar to what we did originally, but I think there might be some changes and some tweaks.
All right. Well, obviously we're starting off with halfling, and you can go into any background that you see fit that's going to fit your overall build. I don't think backgrounds really add.
That part isn't going to matter that much. And actually, it doesn't really matter which sub race you go for halfling either.
Right.
Both of them are going to work. So from there, we're going to look at classes. And this is going to be one of those multi-class character builds for sure.
All right. Now, I think we were looking that we definitely wanted to get mastermind.
Yeah, Mastermind is good, because every round you can use your bonus action to do something with it and give it away. Actually, this character is going to struggle a little bit with their actions. I feel like, because they're going to always have things that they can do.
If we're looking at being able to use our reaction to change somebody else's role or your own, you've got the ability to use your bonus action to either cast spells or if you wind up going bard, giving out inspiration. There's a lot of different ways that their actions are going to wind up being used. So speaking of bard, definitely think going with some levels to get College of Lore. You've got the ability to get your cutting words, as we said earlier. You got the ability to give out the inspiration. Definitely needed.
Yeah, so between Mastermind and Bard, which you're going to take 3 levels in each, we're just going to take a little bit of depth. Right now, that means for the most part, you're going to be able to use your reaction and your bonus action. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to get high enough level in Bard in order to get to the font of inspiration, so we're not going to get to use it quite as much. But we're a halfling, we might be using our reaction to do that stuff as well. So we're also going to be looking at the keystone of this build. That's Diviner Wizard.
And with that, if you get up to 14th level, that's going to get you the Greater Portent, which is going to allow you three saved dice as opposed to the 2 you initially get with Portent.
Yeah, I feel like although the different sorcerer options are interesting, but you're gonna have trouble having enough sorcery points to use that wild magic, the chaos mage, and use that die 4 enough to be useful. It seems really expensive. The divine origin sorcerer. The problem with that is you only get to use that once per rest. So with Mastermind like that, you can be using all the time. With the Bard, you're going to get to use it a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier. So you're going to get a few uses out of that. And Portents, Greater and just regular Portent from Diviner, that really speaks to manipulating dice and changing the numbers out. Then when you combine that with the feats that you can take, you have a character that is going to be manipulating dice all day long, probably frustrating your GM.
Now, with this, you're only going to need intelligence, dexterity, and charisma, and getting 3 13s is not difficult. I mean, you get 15, 14, 13 right as your base if you're going with the standard array, so not impossible at all.
And if you go with a Lightfoot halfling, your stats are dex and charisma anyway, so you're 2/3 of the way there.
So let's ask the question: did we miss anything? Did we hit the nail right on the head? Let you continue the conversation down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over at nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.